Hello, what's up guys? This is Bloodybananas filling in for Epi Sticks as he's still currently recovering from the jaw surgery. And I do hope that, Taylor, if you're listening, I do hope that you'll recover soon so that you can bring back the quality content that you have instead of us small content creators trying to fill the big shoes. Alright, so the battles that I want to showcase to all of you guys are actually the battles that I played on my way to hit legend in the current season, which is season 8, and we did it in Master Classic. And the fun fact is that this is actually my first time playing in Master Classic because I've never had the chance to build a team of a level 40 Pokemon before, so this was very exciting to me as well. And let's get into some of the battles. So here we have Lugia against Ho, so this is a really good matchup. What you want to do is you just want to keep building up to all the energy, just keep building up and never throwing unless they throw some kind of energy to you. So we want to see them see what they throw here. Sometimes they go for Brave Bird and dip, sometimes they go for the EQ, which is what they're doing here. And in that case, what you can do is go for straight Arrow Blast. We can either get a shield or we take out this Ho-Oh, right? And again, we're still not in Brave Bird range because Lugia is just an absolute tank, right? So we're able to actually survive this Brave Bird, and I'm looking to do one more Dragon Tail, and then I'm doing the Sky Attack because this way I can throw it in the middle of their fast move animation, and I'm able to switch to catch the damage of Incinerate on my resisted Kyogre. I was hoping that two Dragon Tails, two Waterfalls would take out the Ho-Oh, but it was barely not enough, and we were able to have a Dialga coming in. We see a Dialga coming in against our Kyogre, which is definitely a very solid counter to our Kyogre. But most of the time, you could still get this Dialga extremely low with your Kyogre, which is extremely good for us. So we're able to get off 2 serves to put this Dialga into a pretty low health range where we could actually just Thunder Shock down with our Melmetal, right? And Melmetal with energy and an opportunity to swap would be really good. And because my opponent had Ho-Oh, so they need a Kyogre answer, right? So I was thinking they might have another type of dragon in the back, but my opponent tried to swap into their Ho-Oh, but it just died to my Thunder Shock. So I'm not sure what they had in the back, and they just gave up the game. Alright, so Lugia against Giratina. Giratina is really bad for my 2 Pokemon in the back. So what I'm looking to do is actually do as much damage as I can with my Lugia. I'm going to shield the Shadow Ball because they almost never bait against a Lugia. Just very risky if it doesn't land. And then they come in with the Melmetal. So I built up a little bit more energy and then went into my Kyogre. Kyogre is generally a solid counter to Melmetal. But Melmetal could definitely flip this matchup with some energy lead or energy lead or shield advantage, right? Which is actually what they had. So they could definitely win this matchup if they want to. But I'm just going to do as much damage as I can with my Kyogre. We know they have a Giratina Origin in the back that doesn't really have any energy, and it's very important to keep track of that. Because they didn't shield, I didn't really want to give up my last shield, and their Melmetal dumped all their energy, so they're at a health range where we could farm down with our Lugia here. It will be safer because I don't really want to tank a superpower with my Melmetal, right? So I come in with my Lugia. I go for a Sky Attack here, which I went for this because they have 2 shields, right? I'm thinking that I want to get their shields or take out the Giratina. So I go for the Sky Attack again, hoping to grab a shield. Let's see if they decide to shield this, and they end up shielding this, which makes sense. And now I'm thinking maybe I need to shield this just in case they have something that we need our Lugia for. And it turned out to be a Extra Drill. So not necessarily a Lugia counter, but it definitely is really good against my Melmetal in the back. But I think this is a game where we end up making some kind of misplay later. They go for a rock slide here, but Lugia is so tanky that it's just able to tank that, even though it's super effective. And here we get to our sky attack to get the last shield, or we can put them in almost Dragon Tail range, right? So we do end up getting the last shield, and I need to land the superpower in order to take out this extra drill immediately. We do survive one drill run from here, but I also need to land a rock slide in the back against a Giratina in order to win this game. And this is where I make a huge misplay, as you guys are going to see. I thought that they're in superpower range because their health was so low, but keep in mind that ghost type double resist fighting. So they were able to survive, and now we're double debuffed, and then we weren't able to Thunder Shock down. So they just farmed us down, and they have a move coming out of that matchup. So our Lugia ends up tanking Shadow Ball in the face, and we end up losing that game. Very well played by my opponent, and very questionable plays on my side, right? Alright, next up we have Lugia versus Dragonite. This is a really good matchup. My opponent, there was some lag at the beginning, but it appeared to be mutual because you could see that the damage was not registering at the very beginning. So here, my opponent is not swapping out, so they might have something weak to my Dialga, right? But I'm going to stay in a little bit, and now I'm going to throw the Sky Attack to almost take out this Dragonite. If not, I think one more Dragon Tail will definitely do it. And it does take out the opponent Dragonite, which is very good for me. I did have some energy coming out of this matchup as well. So I do see an extra drill in the back. The thing with extra drill is that I have such a good counter in the back, right? So I want to maintain swap, and I didn't throw my Sky Attack because I want to force my opponent to throw the Rock Slide. If I stayed in, if I threw the Sky Attack, then my opponent could just keep building up a little bit more until they throw. But if I try to build up to the Arrow Blast, it forces my opponent to throw their energy, right? So they had a Mewtwo in the back, which I just bring out my Melmetal, and I know this trainer, I know that this trainer ran Ice Beam on the Mewtwo, so I just no shield everything pretty much on my Melmetal. Let's see, they go for straight Side Strike because I know that they have Ice Beam, and Side Strike probably does more damage, right? And at this point, I know that my win condition is pretty much my Kyogre, because Kyogre can definitely destroy the Extra Drill extremely well. Here I'm going to go for the Surf to force my opponent's last shield, and then I'm probably looking to farm down this Mewtwo all the way down. Because after farming this down, we should be able to come out this matchup with the Surf, and that should be enough to KO a extra drill in the back. So we do shield a Side Strike, and they probably get to another one here. They actually don't get to another one, and we should just get to the Surf here, and that should do it. If not, one more Waterfall will definitely do it. Yep, that's actually almost one-shots extra drill, so very interesting. It has very low defense stat, right? Alright, next up we have Lugia versus a Garchomp. So this is a pretty good matchup most of the time, right? Alright, but they come in with Giratina. So Giratina is really bad for me, as you guys know. I think I should always shield the first Shadow Ball because it's very rare that they bait you against your Lugia, right? It's very risky if they only go for Ominous Wind that I don't shield. So I just want to get some damage done on this Giratina, but they actually shield the Sky Attack, which is also not bad for me. So I just come in with my Melmetal here because I know that my Melmetal has a really bad matchup against a Garchomp, while my Kyogre still has a pretty positive matchup overall against the Garchomp, right? So that was my thought process, and basically I didn't really care about swap advantage at this point. I just want to sacrifice my Melmetal, hoping that it doesn't match up against a Garchomp. So we're going for straight Rock Slides. I do need to land under the Rock Slide to take it out, but my opponent is also forced to throw energy to take out my Melmetal. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm just pretty much sacrificing my Melmetal here. I should go for a Superpower here because I know Superpower definitely KOs at this range. I just want to also debuff myself so that they get less farm. And my opponent ended up shielding there, which is very good for me. So now they actually have Melmetal in the back, which is fine by me because against a Garchomp, I just need to land a Surf and then I could almost farm down this Garchomp. And I do have to call, I do have to shield if they build up to a big move. Because I do want to land a Surf on their Melmetal. If I can land a move on their Melmetal, then this game is definitely secured for me. Right, so we end up shielding Earth Power, which is really good because that will do a ton of damage. And now we come out of this matchup with the move stored. I'm going to go for Surf instead of Thunder because I know that Thunder doesn't KO. And by throwing Surf here, we force my opponent to throw some kind of energy, right? It was actually a CMP tie, which is even better for me because I definitely didn't want to get taken out here with energy. So we survive with 1 HP and then I'm going to my Lugia. Now I'm just hoping to get to the Aero Blast before my opponent gets to double Rock Slides. And I think this matchup is still going to be extremely close. I'm almost seeing Rock Slide range right here, but we were barely able to get to this Aero Blast. And this should just be enough to take out my opponent's Melmetal here. So very, very close game. And we were barely able to take out my opponent there. Alright, next up we have Lugia versus Growl Down. This is generally also a very positive matchup. Unless they have Dragon Tail, then they can hit back against me. But they actually bring out a Mewtwo, which is very interesting. The fact that they brought out Mewtwo onto my Lugia makes me think they have Shadow Ball or Ice Beam or Thunderbolt, right? Which means that I will consider shielding here actually, just because I want to preserve some health on my Lugia, especially because I don't really need shields against the Growl Down matchup, right? And then I'm coming to my Melmetal. I know that they don't have Focus Blast, so I don't really have to shield anything from this Mewtwo. And we are into Shadow Ball range, but if they decide to throw double Shadow Ball, then we can farm down with our Lugia, and we still have a really positive matchup with our Kyogre in the back versus the Growl Down, right? So I'm absolutely fine with losing swap advantage here. I just want to sacrifice my Melmetal here so that it doesn't have to face up against the Growl Down, right? And here we're probably coming in with our Lugia, and then we just we should be able to farm down this Mewtwo before they get to another Shadow Ball. And they actually have a Dialga in the back, so this was really good for me because Lugia could definitely handle this Dialga as long as we land a single Aero Blast. So that's the most important thing for us. I'm looking to land this Aero Blast, and my opponent's throwing some energy here. I believe I don't shield this because they would have to throw a Draco Meteor or Thunder to take me out, which means they won't have too much energy against my Kyogre in the back. So we called the bait on the first one, and they do get to another Iron Head. I believe we got a CMP tie, so I will shield this because this Aero Blast will do a lot of damage to this Dialga, and once the Dialga is gone, our Kyogre could definitely beat my opponent's Growl Down, right? Unless they get to the Solar Beam, which is very unlikely because they didn't have any energy buildup. So we get off this Surf, and we should. My opponent actually leaves the game. So good game to my opponent. That was very close. And then next up we have Lugia versus Giratina Altered. Again, Giratina Altered is really bad for my backline, so I'm going to stay in here with my Lugia. It's not the worst matchup as some of you guys might think. Just because Dragon Tails really chunks, and I have so much bulk, the stat product is just so high on Lugia that I could really soak up all of these damage. My opponent is swapping into Dialga here, so I'm going to save all of my energy and come into my Melmetal here because it's such a good counter to Dialga, right? Very interesting swap by my opponent, especially when they have a pretty decent matchup, right? So I'm gonna come in with Melmetal, and I'm going for these Rock Slides here. My opponent doesn't shield the first one, which is fine because you do need to land a Rock Slide in order to take out this Dialga. And then I'm going for this Superpower. Can I farm this down afterwards? I don't think I can, so I actually just go for a Superpower and try to take out this Dialga at this point. that might be a misplay on my side. And they come in with their Giratina. I believe I'm trying to build up to a superpower and perhaps swap, but I was not successful in doing so. So now I'm going for this Sky Attack, and at this point I'm trying to think what my opponent could have in the back, and I think a possibility is actually Togekiss. So that would be really bad for me, because I should really consider shielding if I think they have a Togekiss in the back, right? But I believe that I don't shield. I go for another Sky Attack, and I didn't shield, so we're in a really low health right here. So I'm going to swap into my Kyogre right away in case they trying to make a swap as well to get an energy advantage, and it turned out they do have a Togekiss. So at this point, I think we're just going to try to farm each other down. It's just going to be fast moves on fast moves at this point, because none of us can get to 3 moves, and we each have 2 shields, right? And I think we just barely take out each other, and then we have our Lugia versus their Giratina, and then we fast move down each other. So yeah, end up being a draw, which is totally fine by me, because we didn't get a loss yet in this set on our way to hit legend, right? Again, we land in not the best lead, but this is where we want to see it, in the lead against a Giratina Origin. I'm going to shield the first Shadow Ball, just because it's very unlikely for them to... Okay, I actually don't shield it this time. Sometimes I play this differently, because if they know my playstyle too much, then they're going to start baiting. So I actually didn't shield this time, just to have some kind of randomness in my gameplay, right? Otherwise they know exactly what I'm going to do. So here we just get taken out here, and then they get a boost. That is absolutely insanity to me. That is really bad, and I do have to shield this in case it's a Shadow Ball, which will almost one-hit KO us, but we're able to shield, and then they come in with a Growl Down. So this is just super weird to me now. They must have something that's also very weak to my Kyogre, if this is the best Pokemon they can bring in to respond to a Kyogre. So here I'm going for this Surf, and we got 2 shields with the 2 Surfs that we threw. Here, do I shield this? I think there is a point to be made to shield this. Okay, I actually don't shield. I'm saving it up for my Melmetal here, and I believe I don't shield this move either. I actually shield in case it's a Earthquake, right? But it was just a Fire Punch, and now I'm looking to just Thunder Shock all the way down to build up a lot of energy, but unfortunately my opponent got to another move, and I believe this will be a Fire Punch as well, which is fine for us. And then they come in with, this is very interesting, they come in with a Excadrill. So we have 2 superpowers, right? I'm not sure why I didn't build up one more, because I could definitely build up one more Thunder Shock, and that would make my matchup against the Origin in the back much better. And here I just have to get to my move immediately. I'm not sure why I'm going for superpower again, but alright guys, don't go for superpower against a ghost type Pokemon. But we're able to take it out just barely to finish on my opponent. Alright, next up, I think this is actually an important game for me in order to hit legend. We're against the Dialga in the lead. Again, in this matchup, I generally don't like shielding, but sometimes I actually shield. Again, sometimes you want to have some kind of randomness in your gameplay. In that case, when similar things happen against the similar opponent, they don't know exactly what you're going to do, right? So here we don't shield. If I think they're throwing for the Draco Meteor, sometimes I would shield, but here we go for this Aeroblast, and they shield, which makes sense because it's very rare for Lugia to bait against a Dialga, right? So here they get off another move right when we get to the Sky Attack, which is a very good counting by my opponent's side. But now I know they don't have too much energy, and I come in with my Melmetal here, and they actually have a Mewtwo, which is not the greatest for us. Especially if it has Focus Blast, right? Then I should really consider shielding some of the charge moves here. Focus Blast will definitely one-shot. So I do decide to shield, but it was just a side strike bait. Or maybe they don't have Focus Blast, right? So I'm going to get this Rock Slide off. And then I think I'm going to stay in here, which is also an interesting play. Because I didn't want to swap out to tank the side strikes with my Kyogre, right? So I'm going to shield another move, but it was just a side strike. And then my opponent throws another move, so I know this for sure is a side strike. And I'm just looking to farm down all the way against this Mewtwo, because I know that they dumped all their energy. And they actually have a Kyogre of their own, which is very dangerous for me, because Kyogre with the shield and they have Thunder, then they could definitely one-shot my Kyogre in the back, right? But what I can do here is chip down this Kyogre as much as I can, and then come into with my own Kyogre to force them to dump a lot of energy. I know they still have 2 Pokemon, and we get to the move around the same time, so I'm trying to grab that last shield from my opponent here with the Surf, and he's forced to shield this in order to take on my Kyogre, but my opponent actually does not shield. So that makes me think maybe they don't have Thunder, or they just think that their Dialga is healthy enough to take out my Kyogre here. But unfortunately they had to dump a lot of energy, and I think they tried to catch a move with their Mewtwo, which ended up giving me a little bit more farm, and now I'm able to just throw back-to-back superpower before they can get to an Iron Head, right? And we should finish off this game with our Melmetal here. So it was a very interesting game, and good game to my opponent. At this point, I'm already Legend, but we can show a few more battles that I did after I hit Legend. We're against a Growl Down here. This is where the Growl Down has a Dragon Tail, so it could hit back against Lugia, which is pretty interesting. Let's see. So I'm going for a Sky Attack here, but my opponent actually makes a really interesting catch into Mewtwo, which is totally fine by me, right? So my opponent still ended up having to shield, which is interesting. And I'm trying to land this Aero Blast just to grab another shield where we take out this Mewtwo, which would be really good for us. And we do end up getting another shield, so I'm totally fine. I come in with my Melmetal again, because my Melmetal does not have a good matchup against a Groudon in the back. I'm totally fine sacrificing my Melmetal here. And if it dies, that's fine. If they only have Side Strike, that's also okay, right? I do want them to dump all their energy if they're trying to take out my Melmetal, which they would have to throw a Focus Blast, but it looks like they only have Side Strike. They make a combo play into their Groudon, who saved up Fire Punch to take out my Melmetal here, which is a really good play by my opponent. And I actually just come in with my Kyogre here, looking to farm all the way down on this Groudon. My opponent did get to a move, and I think they did build up to an Earthquake, so I do shield this up, and it was an Earthquake, but they wouldn't get to a bait and an Earthquake anyways, right? So now we have a lot of energy on the Kyogre, and we'll see what they have in the back. A Dialga in the back, which makes sense, because it looks like everyone has Dialga nowadays. It's probably the strongest Pokemon in Master League. It's been that way for a really long time, right? But this game, it's totally fine, because all we have to do is land this two double surfs, and we put them low enough where it's possible for us to just farm down on the Dialga, right? And here I will actually shield on my Kyogre just to preserve some health, and then I come in with my Lugia trying to catch a Side Strike here, which doesn't do that much damage. And we just have to make sure my opponent does not farm me all the way down, and I don't think it's possible, because we're going to get to the Sky Attack right there. Very nice counting by my opponent, throwing a move on the CMP tie so that we don't get to our Sky Attack, but we're only 2 waterfalls away for the Surf on our Kyogre, and we're able to get to this move to take out this Dialga. So very, very good game. Well played to my opponent, and I believe that will be all the battles. Again, like I said earlier, Taylor, I hope you recover soon. And if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to check out my YouTube channel at Bloodybananas. Also, make sure to catch me on live stream at bloody_bananas. And yeah, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you guys next time.